What's up, everybody? I'm here with Nathan Welty today. He's Director of Strength and Conditioning out of Velocity Training Center in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Works with a lot of elite hockey guys and footballers. He's going to take me through a sprint, kind of speed and power session today. We're going to start with some head-to-head sprints. We got, what, a 10-yard fly?
10-yard fly with a 5-yard build-up. So, yeah, we got our laser gates set up. So we do a lot of this for, like, some acceleration work. Track all the athletes every time they're here. So they're always being, quote unquote, assessed, but they're also using it to enhance their training. They're not just testing the test. So the training itself is also testing.
My hamstrings are pretty torn up from earlier in the week. Welty here is coming off an overnight shift at the fire department.
And then 3 days of straight leg works.
So neither of us are in top shape for sprints today, but we're gonna send it, see what happens.
1442.
145. I beat you in the last one. That's the only one that's going in the video. I've never used any fancy tech like this before. I have no idea what I'm gonna be able to hit. What are you looking for like, your hockey guys?
I would say a really good time is probably going to be breaking 1-3 or lower. I think Lockin's best on this. Get like a 1-2-5. Blaine would probably be getting close to a 1-2. Will would probably be close to a 1-2 as well, because like they're just so powerful. Especially Will. This is where he's gonna make his money. Why me? I'm not very good at acceleration work. I would make my money more on the back half. Yes, I think improving top speed can help raise like acceleration, but I also think there's a huge like power and skill component behind acceleration. If you're weak, you can have the highest top end speed in the world and still get blown out of the water. And the reason why all our hockey guys are good acceleration, their whole sport is acceleration.
Yeah. For me, as like a marathon, ultra marathon guy, speed work for me is usually like strides or, like hard 400s. And it's usually high volume too.
Right.
I'm not doing 4x4. I'll do like 10 to 20 by 400,
like 85%.
Yeah. So this is going to be a whole new ball game.
You can be in shape, but if you don't have a high top end speed, it doesn't matter.
The mile world record is 16 miles an hour. Like to do 16 miles an hour for a mile, it's disgusting.
You still have to be fast. And I want to get 5 sprints in, even though they might not be like my fastest, but I tried and I'll just say, okay, that's enough.
Do you kind of microdose it then? Like sprint a couple times a week?
So in the winter, I try to prioritize a lot more acceleration work. Summer, I use that time to get outside and actually sprint. Everyone's like, oh, go sprint in a parking lot. Like, I don't know if you guys know, in Minnesota, it's really cold out right now. And our new parking lot, yes, is concrete, which is great. We shouldn't have to salt it as much, but there's still a lot of ice and I don't feel like sprinting on ice.
Plus it's 0 degrees out this morning.
Yeah, I don't want to sprint in 0 degree weather. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's so bad. The best is when you have like kids like, oh, he just beat you because he has longer strides. It's like, no, you have to use a little bit of your coach's eye, some other testing data we used to, like, or 20-yard dash with a 10-yard split. I put both split times in their total time and their first 10 yards to see what they're better at. If you're really bad at the first half, you probably need strength. If you're okay at the first half, probably need power, which is the happy medium of the two. If you're really bad overall, it's going to say you need speed just because it's so low of an output, which then if the kid's really small, I'm going to say, okay, you probably need strength. Not many people go into strength, I would say, based off their first initial testing, because their number is like a 3-second. And I'm like, hey, if you're in the 3s, it's going to tell me you need speed almost every single time, right? Because you're just so, like, it's not a good time. He's testing in the speed on the speed gates. It's 140 pounds. Okay. Wants to play college hockey. He needs to get some size on, so we're probably going to do some strength.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, well, sprinting isn't the same exact thing as skating. And I'm like, if you look at, and there's a lot of good research coming out now, like the first couple steps are very similar in acceleration off ice, because all of it is about hip projection. The lane knee extension. If I'm going to stride and I do knee here, like you're short striding. You're not able to glide across the top of the ice, and you're actually probably going straight up because now you're crushing ice rather than gliding. There always will need to be some sort of crushing a little bit because of the coefficient of the ice, but you still need to get moving horizontal. Oh, that's so bad. And overcoming ISO truly isn't that stressful. Like it can be. It really can be if you have like a force plate to like see an actual number compared to like, hey, just pull into this crash bar or push into this wall as hard as you can. Like,
they're not actually working.
Right. You're actually working. So they did it on like the ice. So like, hey, push into the boards, like off that inside leg. It's more of a teaching tool from a skill. Like it might force them to feel things they haven't felt. And all of a sudden their brain's going to remember that. And then they go do the crossover drill and it looks completely different. You see it change right there on the spot. And that's where I think the valuable of being able to train on the ice, because it's no different what track people do now. You're starting to see it's transition from just weight room work to slowly transition into the weight room work supplements on field work, because that on field or ice is still the most important thing you can do to improve the game. The data, the technology has helped backs up kind of what you're already seeing. Like a lot of the stuff I see, like, oh, kind of already knew about that guy. What? I got data on him. Perfect. I'm really smart. Every hockey guy I have starts like this.
Yeah.
Even you did it. You didn't play hockey, but it's just every hockey guy starts like that. I can't do it.
What?
You do a double arm pump.
Oh.
As you're moving forward, you double arm pump, which I have tried so many times to try to do that, and I cannot get my brain to understand of like.
Think about it. Do you have your hockey guys? Do they do any like just low intent
Zone 2 kind of stuff?
Zone 2, like on a bike or something?
Yeah, like I usually do it on like our recovery days. They kind of hate it, honestly, because it's boring to them. Or I'll even say, hey, if you're not doing anything this week, and just go for a walk. I'll do like some extensive plyometric circuit. Within it, it might be like skips, just karaoke. So now you're getting that like almost relaxation, like fluidity in it while getting some extensive plyos. I'll do some deep tier stuff in it as well. Add some crawls in it. It's literally just work capacity. Like that one sucks.
Yeah. They don't need 10 hours of.
No, they don't need a lot of it. They already skate all the time. Me giving them more conditioning. It's a whole like conversation. If a college coach came up to me in the middle of the season, our guys are out of shape. I'm like, it is the middle of season. I guarantee you they're not out of shape. They're probably just tired. Maybe back off a little bit on practice today. Still go hard.
Yeah.
Go a little bit shorter practice. Don't go the full hour and a half, maybe, depending on what school you're at.
Fatigue, I think, looks different in an aerobic sport versus an anaerobic sport. It's like with distance running, you can be fatigued as shit and like your performance will suffer, but it's not that much. Whereas in something like hockey, like if you run those guys in the ground, they're just going to fall.
Right.
You think I'm doing a weird technique wise or anything?
Like you have a big back, like quote unquote backside. You're so much here that you can't like get to like this position, which then it comes into delayed knee extension. Bulgarians, for example, when you come out of the bottom, I actually want you to push that knee more forward and get that hip to come over the top. A couple of my interns were really big into bodybuilding, and I taught them that. They're like, my ass has never felt more sore.
I need more of that because I can tell that like I don't even feel like engaged with it until I'm done.
It's so weird with sprinting too. Like some days you have it, your whoop could be green, come in, and I ran like absolute dog water.
You know, I don't even know what my watch is telling me today. That's actually be good to go.
Yeah.
So
I do not. I remember like you really look at your data on the whoop. Like I look at it. Does it really affect my own changing of coaching and stuff? No, the force plate I would say is for me has been more accurate of like how I actually feel.
The thing with the algorithms and like looking at the heart rate variability and stuff, you want to see different HRV trends from different training stimuli.
Yes.
And like the Whoop doesn't take that into account. It's just like a generalized algorithm. If I'm doing a ton of aerobic work, I'm going to want to see myself in the green because that's kind of what the generalized algorithm is more closely tied to that. Whereas if you're trying to peak for anaerobic stuff and sprint stuff, the traditional, like you're in the green is probably not going to apply as much. It's not what the algorithms are built around. I had my best score ever. It was like the best recovery score, highest HRV I've ever had the day after racing a marathon. And like, there's no, like, this doesn't make any sense. Like it does, but I could look at it and be like, oh, I'm ready to go today. What are you looking for on a squat jump like this?
When I do it, I kind of go by feel, honestly.
What'd you call this thing?
A Tendo unit. Gym Aware is a really popular one.
What's like a typical percentage that you can hit for above 0.7?
I think it's really individually based.
An exercise like this, we got the Tendo unit. Do you have like specific times the peak velocity for different exercises?
No, I kind of look at like just the general theme of the day. If a guy likes barbell squat jumps, I'll give them barbell squat jumps. They like hex bar jumps, I'll give them hex bar jumps. If they are proficient at the cleans and like the cleans, I'll give them clean. Not being married to exercise and seeing stimulus for stimulus, rather than like, oh, the mortal back squat is the best exercise. Is like, I have a 6'7" guy, is a back squat with a heel edge the best variation I can think of? Probably not. Throwing them on a machine is probably better from a strength standpoint. What's better for them? Bill posted a video about like catching a jerk, right? It's very similar impulse of doing like a rear foot elevated drop catch. Yes, the stimulus is going to be way more on a jerk, but how many 6'7" guys that are in the NBA do you know that are going to want to do that? I see the value in it. Would I do it myself? Yes. Would I use it for my athletes? I got to look at return on investment. Like, does the athlete actually get to buy into it and do it enough of a load to get anything out of it? If he's doing a split jerk with 95 pounds, I don't think that's the same as if he was invested into doing drop catches with 75s. Where is he going to be able to push it the most? Choose what variation you can actually push yourself on and go from there. And I think that's the biggest thing I've changed in the last couple of years, whether it's a strength day, a power day, a speed day, like actually like committing and sending it. So you got one set. Okay. Send it in that set. Get warmed up, send it in your one set, be done for the day.
You can get a lot out of one set if you know how to send it.
If you know how to send it, you can get a lot of shit done. That's like why 1x20 works so well. You can just send it in one set. Yeah, like when I was at St. Cloud State, I did 1x20 with my baseball program, and they despised me. They came 3 times a week. We did the same workout all 3 days. Each day they did it, they have to go up in weight. If you fail, the next time, same workout, you're going 1x15, but now you're going up in weight still. I had some kid end up front squatting 275 for 20.
That's gross. When I first started lifting, I decided I was going to do set to 30, and I was just going to start with 135 and add weight every time. Like once I can't progress, I'll go heavier. Yeah. I ended up progressing my 30 rep max up to 245. And that was like just sets of 30.
Anytime I write like higher rep sets, even if I just write one set, I tell guys, you have one set or 2 sets, whatever I write, send it on those 2 sets. You don't, it's at the end. I typically put them at the end of the block, end of the workout. If you have the perfect program, but don't actually try within the perfect program, it doesn't matter.
Like you said, the 1x20, it's not optimal on paper, but it's great for just getting people to send it. If you're doing like a 5x5, you can end up spending a lot of time on one movement. But if you do like one working set, you can get a lot of shit done. All right, so let me make sense of those 3 reps I just did. So if I'm hitting, like if we measure my power output as I increase weight here, if I'm moving a little bit slower, but the power is still really going up, that's what you want to see?
Yeah, I would say, especially if we're actually in like a power, like dynamic effort type of day, I'm fine with that.
Based on the numbers there, should I go up or not for a working on the power or anything?
Like how does it feel? That does something too. Like, does it feel like athletic? We'll use that. I think it looks fine, but you start, like I said, how it gets a little bit sketchy, kind of coming off the back a little bit as you drive up, and like the landing gets a little sketch too.
I think they'll smooth out a little bit.
161. 162. So you only had a 2% velocity loss during your jumps.
From the first to the third?
Yeah, first to the third. You probably can go up. One 155. 154. 155 again. So you didn't lose any velocity basically percent wise. But this is also, I know when you look at it, like your time to peak velo, that was your lowest one.
Overall better than you think the previous.
From a speed perspective, right? Did you jump as high? But you still had more wattage, right? So you did more work in a shorter amount of time. That power output was better.
So no velocity loss still, power output was better. So you think another small weight jumps until you see that start coming back down? Fine.
Yeah, you're already striding, so like this is not even what 50% of your max.
It's about 50%.
Yeah, for you to get to like a 0.6, right? We'll say, right? When at that point, are you better off even doing a barbell jump at 0.6 meters per second? Probably not. You're probably better off doing some sort of clean or something like that that's actually involves a little bit of dynamic reversal or something like that. Because when you start getting like 0.6 meters per second, you're probably gonna be at like 325, like something that's really heavy. And like, do you really want that crashing down?
135, 136, 138.
Time the peak velocity dropped off a lot more. I think you were like, so 0% velocity drop again. Power is still there, right? Like the power is going up.
If you're coaching a big group or if you're someone that doesn't have one of these units,
I honestly don't tell them a weight. I tell them, like, if they're doing squat jumps, I will just say move a weight fast. And then I'll be watching and I'll slowly just sneak on weights. I'm never going to tell a kid, hey, you can't go heavy. If you're feeling like you want to go heavy and you're feeling great and good, by all means, go ahead. You doing one set of this is not going to make or break you. Especially the younger kids, like the college and like younger. Now the pro guys, I probably don't push it as much on them because like they're making millions of dollars.
Yeah,
I don't need to do it with them. I give them for 3 months. A couple guys make $8 million a year. I do not need someone to blow their backs out.
Yeah.
They're actually really hard to convince to do sprint work hard.
pros.
Yeah. Like, it's so funny because, like, I'll do, like, the 20-yard dash test. I can tell they are not trying. But as soon as I bring out any sort of, like, if I don't bring out the timing gates and I brought out foam rollers and told them to race each other, there is so much pride at beating someone else that they will go to the ends of the world to win that race. We play soccer tennis a ton with the pros.
Yeah.
That got so competitive this summer that I almost had to shut it down because it was taking, they played for a whole hour.
Yeah.
Then they had another hour of training.
I like go single arm as long as I can.
Oh, right.
And add weight. And then I like add that at the
Other hand.
end. I'm interested. I actually haven't done these in a while. I've been on a...
You got famous for these on the Instagram for these.
I know. I just haven't had them in a while. I've been doing some other stuff. How'd that feel for you? Was that tough yet?
No, that was fine. Yeah.
Good positioning. I've worked with so many people on this who like they can out deadlift me by a mile, and they go to try to do something like this, and they like they start doing this number, like kind of open their hips up, and they can't get into that internal rotation position.
Like I don't have a ton of IR, especially on my left hip. Like I'm extremely rotated bias. But like I feel amazing doing hinges. Like I feel great doing hinges, but I always joke, like I have the smallest ass in the world. I don't think this is this hard of a movement, personally.
Right, like to me it's very natural, very intuitive. So when I see people struggle with this, I always think it's bizarre. A lot of people, they just like they end up doing this number, they like still trying to just make it a back exercise, or they can't internally rotate. We got 200s on here. These are not 45s. So this is my PR for contralateral, like single arm only. We'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah. Again, bro. Every day. Walk in, bro. That's Alec.
I might have to go double arm.
Double arm?
Yeah. I think that might be better.
Hey, there we go.
Good.
Heavy?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm very satisfied that I was able to match my PR I haven't done these in like 3 months.
Adding just a little bit of stability, I feel so much more hip. How do you like the Smith machine for it?
I don't dislike it, but like to me, if you're someone who already does a lot of like bilateral hinging, if you do a lot of just standard RDL, that kind of stuff, I just like my single leg work to be a little bit different.
Cut.
And so if I can get a little bit more of that like rotational element, a little more hip shifting. I just like to bring something like a unique stimulus to the table. So I find like on the Smith, I like the stability, but to me, it's like you're just doing an RDL again. You just happen to be on one leg.
Right.
It's not as unique of a stimulus. So 300s on there.
Yep.
God damn it. Got it off the ground.
I had one high schooler set our gym record, but he just, instead of like he went a lot slower and loaded.
Right.
And then we have another guy that's tied with him basically on the same team. Complete opposite. Doesn't go past here.
A short, springy jump that's not quite as high. You'd rather see something like that.
It depends on a little bit on the sport. I like seeing the sharper V if I look at the graph compared to this like drawn out like that. I'd rather see this.
Sure.
But if it's, okay, their jump's 9 inches, but their graph is this, okay. They're clearly just not strong.
For someone like me, like I'm fairly strong, like good strength to weight ratio,
Right.
but pretty slow.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you would have me do like in a gym? If I did want to say like get fast, if I'm like, I want to improve my 100-yard dash or whatever.
Yeah.
What would you have me doing in the gym?
It's hard to say like one specific thing because your base level of everything, like your experience on everything, right? You run a lot already. So from like an elastic contact standpoint, it's like giving you more hurdle hops or like hurdle hops or pogo hops isn't necessarily going to help you a ton because you get all those elastic contacts when you go running. So I would say just adding in maybe some sort of drops. You could change it up by doing some sort of resisted sprints. Again, it just might be giving you a variety you haven't done recently. If you really want, you could do like a force velocity profiling if you have access to technology to do it.
So you got all the tech here, like you got the timing gates, you got the plyomats.
Yeah.
Would you run me through any like series of tests to be like, all right, this is what we need to work on? Or could you do it just with the conversation of like
You
this?
probably could do it with a conversation. Like, yes, I have the technology. We just got our force plate system. I still probably heavily rely on, honestly, the timing gates more. A sprint is more valuable and it's training, right? The testing itself is also a training compared to like counter movement jump on a force plate. It's a jump, yeah, but it's not very stressful. It's just a test. Super simple and easy to do. So that's why it's great in season. If I don't want to have the hockey team run sprints, if they have back-to-back games like this last week, they played on Tuesday, they played last night. JV came in, I jump tested them, and I sprinted JV before varsity. And almost everyone on JV was down. I'm like, okay, we're not even going to sprint varsity because JV was so down. And I know varsity played harder because it was a tighter game. It's just going to be dog water. I don't need to do this testing to know. Yes, would have been nice to see from a graph standpoint. None of them are going to buy into it anyways. So it's just like, okay, we're going to wash that, erase it off the whiteboard. We're just doing giant mobility, some breathing, have a little bit of fun too. Team played some spike ball. More from an environment standpoint, that goes a long way for them compared to like having like the perfect plan of like this speed primer, which I had set up initially, but I'm like, it's not going to turn out great. They're probably already pretty fried. It's 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. If you send it, no matter what training we put on, I think you're going to see a lot more value to that too. Of like, if you're just kind of going through the motions, that isn't going to do anything. The intent you put behind it matters a lot more.
I have different ideas of how I should structure like sprint, speed, and power sessions. Would you say sprint first before the heavy stuff? So like work on my weakness first when I'm most fresh? Or the kind of thing where I'm not even good enough at it that I need that target of a stimulus, I can maybe lift and then do sprints after we do some cleans or something.
Like our youth kids, like I can sprint them before, I can sprint them more after. Like we have our youth kids, like we'll sprint before a little bit, we'll time them, we'll go do a little bit of workout, we'll come back and they PR because their outputs are so low. I don't think your output's low enough where like if you did it after, is it going to be better for you? Probably not. Anything's going to work. Everyone talks about this minute rest ratio, minute per 10 yards, which is great for like the higher level guys. You're not going to do 100%, 100-meter dashes, 2-minute break. Like you're not going to be able to repeat 100%. I had one kid run 22 sprints the other day. I'm like, because they just didn't want to lose. I think he PR'd on his 19th sprint.
That's crazy.
And you can tell they're actually trying, but they'll kind of understand of like, what is a good sprint a little bit, but they're out and they just run, walk back after the line goes through, they're back up. maybe get 40 seconds of rest.
All right, man. Thanks for the workout.
Thank you again for joining us.
Good time. Got you now an official member of the.
I've been seeing those on your Instagram. Those look nice. Thank you, sir. You beat me again.
Barely. I think you had the fastest sprint of the day. I just got you on that last one.
Yeah, everyone remembers the last one, though.
You beat me in warm-ups. I beat you in the finals.
Exactly. This is why you got the gold, and I just got, I'm an Olympic medalist.